How did you find out you were getting cheated on? The guy shot me a message on social media, said he was sorry and didn't know she was in a relationship. I bumped into him at a bar years later and bought him a drink. My ex-wife had that part covered. Had the affair with a guy in a city 45 minutes away and snuck onto his social media accounts and blocked me so we'd never accidentally cross paths. Typical dude isn't gonna look at that stuff. Maybe a good idea to look at that list sometimes. Edit, for everyone curious about how I caught her. She thought out a lot of it, excuses, logistics, and she's a fantastic liar, but she screwed up on little things and she's disorganized with her stuff in general, like kind of a slob. There was a bag she took to a friend's house that she never unpacked. It was actually sitting open in the closet and I looked down in it while hanging something up and there was a sex toy plainly visible. I started snooping after that and found some other signs. Of course I started going through her Facebook feed from my account and I noticed a few times she tagged someone in a post, but the name wasn't a link and he didn't show up when I searched him. She admitted that she blocked me from his account after I was confronting her about everything. I had basically deleted Facebook years earlier, scrubbed some personal info and hadn't been on it in years, but it still had my picture and said I was married to her, so she didn't try messing with it on my end. Figured the odds that I would snoop were low and she would have been right if she hadn't screwed up. She really wanted to make sure the other guy didn't come across my profile considering how many mutual friends the wife and I had. Her roommates called and asked me to meet them for lunch, said it was important. I met them and they told me she had been cheating on me with her ex the entire time I was deployed. They showed me pictures, back when you had to get pictures developed. They said I was a good man and I didn't deserve to be treated like that. They had collected my things that morning when she left for work and gave them to me. I drove to her work, walked up to her, showed her the pictures and demanded the ring back. She gave it to me and I left. Later she called me yelling about me, conspiring with her roommates, basically trying to make it my fault. She asked what I was doing meeting with them. I said, "It's called respect and closure and it sounds like this." I unplugged the phone, landline, waited an hour plugged in the phone and called the phone company, said I needed to change my number and never heard from her again. I took it really rough and am thankful for her roommates and the friends that got me through probably the darkest time of my life. He pocket dialed me while bragging about it to a coworker. The universe really had my back on that one. Phone bill. She was texting some random number 600 times a month. I thought I recognized the number and when I put it in my phone it was a buddy of mine. This is actually how it started for me. I was looking at revising our phone plan to one with less data and happened to notice a massive amount of texts on her line. Dug into the records and found it was to a co-worker. About 48 hours later I got home from work, night shift, and she wasn't home. Took a random guess and drove to their office at 4 a.m., for some reason, common ground made sense. Found them both in the parking lot. First serious girlfriend. She was the older sister of my best friend at the time. He introduced us, got us together. 2.5-ish years later he randomly calls me. Tells me he overheard her on the phone. He felt terrible about it, but couldn't not tell me. I didn't believe him at first but he was right. I remember at work a few years after we were all swapping cheating ex stories and I told this one and the ladies I worked with were all surprised that a brother would snitch on his sister like that. Without missing a beat the other guy there said, the BRO in brothers before hoes doesn't mean biological. A man knocked on my door and introduced himself as the husband of a woman that my husband worked with. He was there to tell me that his wife was having an affair with my husband. My husband never came home after that. He got an Airbnb and told me to get a lawyer. We had been together for 24 years. He hooked up with random girls when he was supposed to be at his mom. One evening at a friend's party, there was a girl who wasn't of our group, a friend of a friend. She went, "Oh. Hi. Remember me? It was so fun." Two interesting ones from close friends. Friend's neighbor looked into her house from the second floor and saw him fucking the nanny. They are currently in divorce proceedings, though he's still dating the nanny. The more interesting one is a friend was headed to Thanksgiving with her husband when she got a text from a woman saying, "Your husband has been fucking me and several other women," then gave a list of the women. She was aghast, not sure what to do, then the woman sent pics as evidence. The woman was pissed as he had promised her he would spend Thanksgiving with her instead of his wife/my friend. My friend divorced him. The idiot saved her number as, "my little hoe." Oh, and the other guy, I found women's sandals in his truck, passenger seat. He said those were his friend's GFs. LOL. Why would your friend drive in the back seat and his GF next to you? Damn. I came home from work one day and my live-in girlfriend was sitting at her vanity putting on her makeup. I asked, "What's the occasion?" She said, "I have a date." Brutal. Was that her way of dumping you? Seems needlessly cruel. The other girl was wearing my clothes in front of me. Edit, thanks for all the love, guys. The one part of this entire debacle that was hysterical was that she tried to deny that she was wearing my clothes when I confronted her. Until I pointed out the oil stain on the white shirt she was wearing, which my sister caused when she borrowed said shirt without asking. Plot twist, she and I are friendly now and he's off being miserable somewhere else. I decided to get a divorce. Dude wouldn't stop accusing me of cheating. After I left, some mutual friends of ours at the time told me he was on dating sites, etc. When I went back to the house to grab some of my stuff, another woman had moved in, 2 days after I left. It all started to make sense. Apparently it's true, if they're cheating they will accuse you. I don't know all the details, don't want to. Better off sparing my feelings and not knowing all the details than to be ripped apart inside if I do. F that a-hole. My neighbor told me that there was an odd car parked in my driveway when the ex was supposed to be at work. Feel like this is the way it would be revealed in my town. My acquaintances and neighbors will ask me, "Why was the moving van in your driveway on October 6th? Kind of thing. Everyone knows everyone's business here. The other woman knocked on my front door and asked me to take my kid and get out so that the two of them could be together and be happy. I told her she could have him, but they'd have to go because technically I owned the house. I then told him he was free to go. He did not go, sadly. She'd been dropped off by her ex who she cheated on with my ex-husband. That was quite awkward. She was sleeping with her boss, in the most cliched excuses. I really think if she'd said to me the passion and love was gone, we could have divorced amicably, because I was miserable too. But when she cleaned out our house and bank account, well, that changed the dynamic just a smidge. F you, Michelle. The other woman found out about me when a mutual friend showed her my pictures with my dude and our kids on Facebook and contacted me to apologize and let me know she had been told he was single. We met for a drink and to compare notes. After she showed me texts and proof that he had been cheating on me for months, we both dumped him, flew off to party together in New Orleans for a few days, and have been besties for over 12 years. He was the best thing that ever happened to me, introduced me to what ended up being my tribe. He asked me to go unlock his car since he'd locked his keys inside. Friend he told me he was with was nowhere to be found. Checked his phone and found the messages. He wouldn't admit to actually sleeping with her until 2 years later. Then asked for an open relationship and got upset when I got more dates than him. We've since split, thankfully. Then asked for an open relationship and got upset when I got more dates than him. I think many men imagine open relationships super duper great only to find out their woman gets more pull. I read so many stories with this. I remember a post on r/relationship advice a few years ago about a guy that asked his wife or GF for an open relationship. By the time he got one hookup she had gotten around 40. So yeah guys, if you're fantasizing about an open relationship, that's what your reality will probably look like.